This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC Vegas 104. I'm going to give you guys my lock of the week, most confident picks, my favorite underdogs, Degen Props at a night, and then we're going to finish it out with the parlays. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. Now, last week was absolutely sensational. Savage dog lock Justin Gaethje hits in the co-main event. It was a pretty good back and forth fight, but Gaethje securing a nice W, and I was very grateful. And I know a lot of you guys were super excited as well. I'm looking forward to Savage dog lock, and again, I've actually hit 4 straight underdogs with the Savage dog lock of the week section. It started off with Nazim Sadikov. Rob Font handled business in a close one. Following that, had the biggest of the dogs, Sam Patterson at plus 270. And then this past weekend, obviously, Justin Gaethje pulls through. So looking to keep the momentum going with a Savage 2025 kicking off. So without further ado, I want to jump right into it. The lock of the week.
Kurt Holobaugh!
Kurt Holobaugh, Savage dog lock of the week. I actually had a lot of people during the live streams guessing that this would be my lock, and congratulations, you guys were right. I really like the stylistic matchup here. I feel as though Alexander Hernandez is a fighter that can get outworked, and Kurt Holobaugh is essentially the workhorse. He's definitely better at fighting from close range, and he also has a pretty crafty grappling game. Hernandez will be forced to kickbox from range and keep that distance for a majority of the fight for his highest likelihood of success, and that's just really hard to do against a relentless fighter like Holobaugh. I expect Kurt to be consistent as hell with forward pressure. I think that he's going to be nasty in close range. He's got good dirty boxing. I like the way he makes fights dirty, and when you look at matchups for Hernandez in the past, you see him, you know, somewhat starting to feel the effects of the fight a bit more, right? Hernandez is decent when, you know, he can kind of control the rhythm. When he gets into a back and forth fight, he's been outworked. He's got a handful of losses recently. Granted, you know, a few of them at featherweight as opposed to lightweight. This fight here being in lightweight. His most recent fight was a win, so give him some respect. He beat Austin Hubbard, but he was getting touched up and taken down late in that fight. He got busted up. It wasn't like he handled Hubbard. He won a split decision. Before that, it was at 145. He missed weight. He came in at 150, and he lost to Damon Jackson. He got outdogged. Fight before that, Bill Algeo ended up beating him. So 2 losses down at 145 against, you know, lower tier opposition. Now, on paper, Kurt Holobaugh has a terrible record inside of the UFC. He's 2-5, but when you dig into what he's done recently, he has the Ultimate Fighter win. He's got the finish of Austin Hubbard as an underdog, and then a loss to Trey Ogden, who I'd rate as, you know, decently high caliber, not top 15, but top 25-ish. And then last time he ended up fraud checking Kainan Krucheski in a good back and forth fight, and Krucheski's a fighting nerds guy. I think Kurt Holobaugh, despite his age, is in a favorable matchup here with Alexander Hernandez, who have a slight size advantage, being, I think, physically stronger and the better grappler of the two. If it gets in that area, I see Holobaugh winning grappling exchanges. And in striking, like I said, I feel as though Hernandez has kind of got to be at distance throwing kicks and straight shots, but Holobaugh is going to be a hard guy to just keep away from you. And when they get in close, I think Holobaugh makes it a nasty fight. Then I think Holobaugh does some big damage here. I'm calling Kurt Holobaugh to outdog Alexander Hernandez. I could see a good 3-round scrap. I could see a back and forth fight. I think that there will be moments for both guys, but I know for a fact that Kurt Holobaugh is going to absolutely fight relentlessly for your money as an underdog. And I don't think he should be an underdog here. I could see this fight as even lines. Something that I really like doing is making the picks not with odds being even known to myself, and seeing Kurt Holobaugh as an underdog. I think he could be a minus 125 favorite. I think he could be a minus 150. I get it. His record on paper, not great in the UFC, but it's not like Hernandez has done well recently. I mean, yeah, he beat Jim Miller 2 years ago, but still an aging Jim Miller, and this is 2 years back, and I don't think he's shown any improvements from that fight. I actually feel like he looked worse against Austin Hubbard. So don't feel like Hernandez is super high caliber. I get people's mindset. Oh, well, he's 32. He's still in his prime, and Holobaugh's 38. He isn't. it's not necessarily a linear line like that for everyone. I feel as though Holobaugh is actually at his best point now as far as his entire fighting career. And I think Hernandez is kind of leveled off. So how I match them up is Holobaugh does more damage, Holobaugh more relentless, better gas tank, more grit. And I think he wins a dirty fight with Alexander Hernandez. I like the chances of him. Yes, underdog status for him. And that's why he's the savage dog lock. I'm seeing up to plus 180. Are you serious? Plus 180 for Holobaugh. Hernandez has swelled to a minus 210 favorite here. I don't agree with those lines. I just am always hard pressed to, back Hernandez with any bit of confidence. And now seeing him matched up against Holobaugh, I think he gets outdogged. Give me Holobaugh to win, plus 180. Money line down the center is going to be that savage dog lock of the week call. If you want to chase props, you're more than welcome to. It's up to you. Not recommending it, but possibility. You could think Holobaugh by decision. I think that is a fair likelihood at plus 400. There is the option of, maybe playing the Holobaugh spread if you don't want to play the money line. It's not terrible. Something you could consider later on in the week. We'll talk more about the spreads and stuff on Friday. But I am picking Kurt Holobaugh as the savage dog lock. I see him with a success in this fight and a matchup that I think he can fare well in against somebody that's, in a similar level spot. But I think Holobaugh a little more gritty, a little more nasty. And at 38, still got some fight left in him. And I think he can win a good back and forth with Hernandez. Add in the fact that we're at the apex. So it's not like Hernandez can just stay away from him. He's going to be forced to fight in close. I'm going with Holobaugh out dogging him. Savage dog lock of the week. Kurt Holobaugh to get it done. Let's jump to the next section. Let's talk some most confident picks. We'll cover some of these chalky lockies, the high confidence favorites. We'll bring them up on the screen and then, let's go one by one. So first up, Kevin Vallejos. I think he's everybody and their grandmother's lock of the week. Minus 600. Yes, he's a chalky locky. He should win the fight, but I wouldn't recommend money lining it. I'll have him in a parlay at the end. There is a way you can play him to, capitalize on some dollars, but ultimately, I believe that, it's parlay only. He should fuck Sungwoo Choi up. Knockout win is live at minus 195, and then you could potentially go for Vallejos. Does he get it done in round one? It's plus 175 if he did. Round two, plus 325. There's an under 1.5 at plus money. So I think that Kevin Vallejos to finish Sungwoo Choi is extremely likely, and I think he's just simply way better with boxing, and I think a high caliber prospect. And Sungwoo Choi, though he has good length, he's not really good at fighting from the outside, and he's got a low fight IQ. He'll start brawling when he gets stunned, which leaves him susceptible to damaging shots, and I think Vallejos is going to absolutely beat the shit out of him. So give me Vallejos as a confident pick, as he should be for most of you. Damon Blackshear, again, big favorite. He's around minus 460. But this is the chalky locky section. I'm just going confidence. Yeah, it's an ugly line, but that's why I go savage dog lock, so it's money lineable. Something like this, parlay. Again, I like Blackshear to dominate. I think that Damon Blackshear has a finishing potential. Submission is not a great tag, though, so I wasn't overly enthused. It sits at plus 215. But Blackshear does have a crafty submission game. If you've seen, he pulled off that twister. He's coming off a rear naked choke of Cody Stamann. And I think he's getting better. Few fights back, he gave Mario Batista a good run for his money on a week's notice. And I really think that a guy like Cody Gibson, who's of the lower to mid-tier as far as bantamweights go, I just don't think he has much of a shot. Whereas I could see Blackshear ranked in the top 15. I don't think Cody Gibson is in that type of position. Now, I do recognize Cody Gibson has some momentum right now. He's got a 2-fight win streak going for himself. But guys are, Chad Henniger, Brian Kelleher. Now he's fighting Damon Blackshear. And Blackshear, I think his recent performance against Cody Stamann was kind of a breakout performance. I mean, landed that flying knee beautifully, got the submission. Striking skill set seems to be coming along well. Wrestling and grappling game, always there. I think that Damon Blackshear is a nice win for himself right here against Cody Gibson. So I'm going to go with Blackshear to pull through. I think he finds a way to get a W, and I will not be surprised by a finish. But Gibson's got some decent wrestling, could make it somewhat competitive, but my instinct is finish. I could see Gibson even shooting and then getting caught in a submission off the counter from Blackshear. Let's keep going. Next up, this is a light heavyweight that I'm excited about. Dayar Njokuani, minus 365. So again, ugly tag, but it is what it is. I like Njokuani a lot, guys. I think this kid is fucking dangerous. Now, be careful with an over-under because Njokuani could be patient and get it done a little later. But the way Brennison Ribeiro sometimes, closes distance, throwing hard, depends though. Depends where Ribeiro shows up. I could see Njokuani knocking him out early too. I think Nurgozhay's going to dust him up. I think Nurgozhay's a good light heavyweight prospect. Brennison Ribeiro's decent enough brawler, but I think the Kyle Machado fight kind of showed us that he's not that good. Whereas Nurgozhay, I think, kind of has that limitless potential factor right now. Brennison Ribeiro is still kind of riding the coattails of the big upset against Bruno Lopez. Now Bruno Lopez is fighting Dustin Jacoby in a massive opportunity, years later, but I still don't think that Brennison Ribeiro is that good. He's fun to watch. I like his style. I like the way he throws punches. He's got some grappling in the arsenal. He's got power for sure. But he also got knocked out real bad against Ming Yang Zhang, and he's been knocked out outside of the UFC. And Njokuani's a crafty fighter. I just feel like he's going to be too clean with it, man. I see a knockout. And Njokuani, I like the southpaw stance for him. He got that nice high kick against Shefwick on Contender Series. I just think that a guy like Njokuani just has more upside. He beat Emiliano Sordi, too, who was actually in his corner. He beat him in the fight before Contender Series. So, yeah, Njokuani to absolutely wreck. I think that's a clear as day pick. Everybody knew it was coming. Minus 110 for Njokuani by KO. The money line, though, minus 365. Maybe you're playing minus 365 in a parlay. Or maybe you're going that KO prop. If it's calling your name, maybe you're doing it. I think Njokuani's live to chin Brennison Ribeiro. He's given up a bit of range, but Ribeiro's not a complete sniper from the outside. And I think Njokuani will do a good job of forcing the fight into more so his range. And I just think he's more crafty and technical. He reads punches well. He counters well. I don't know. The guy's just got that thing, that potential. I see him as top 15. I don't see that for Brenson. So we're going with Njokuani. Next up. Final of the most confident pick section, one of the best prospects at flyweight right now, André Lima. Now, he is a fat favorite around minus 380 to minus 400. Not a great tag, but let me tell you something, bro. André Lima has a well-versed tool set that I think puts him in kind of that lock territory. I think he's better everywhere than Daniel Barez. Barez is deceptively fast, and he does have like some slick combination punching, but he doesn't have a good gas tank. His loss in his debut, he actually did quite well early against Cavalcante. Jafiel Filho. I don't know why they have him as Cavalcante. I'm thinking of Rafael Cavalcante from fucking Strikeforce days. Total flashback for a second. He got finished in that fight, but he was fucking Filho up on the feet. Fight after that, comes in, fights Victor Altamariano. Good 3-round fight. Gets it on the cards. Looks okay. Good moments early, but, there's still worrying 3 hard rounds. And I think André Lima's a talented guy. André Lima's a good prospect. He's got a nice striking arsenal with that Muay Thai style striking. Last time out, he beat Felipe Dos Santos and he showcases wrestling. I think that this should be a unanimous decision for Lima. I think that makes perfect sense here. Again, chalky favorite, but a guy that I see winning the fight. Lima to win via decision, currently sitting at minus 120. I'll predict that Lima does go out there and win it on the judges' scorecards. I think he kind of shuts down Barez' game, maybe ties up with him, mixes in some grappling. But even in strike combinations, I think Lima's going to look pretty fine-tuned. And I'll anticipate that we have a better version of Lima than last time. Cannot say the same for Barez, who's 36, whereas Lima's 26. So 10-year age difference, which I think is a factor. And I am just not super high on Barez. I know some will say, oh, but you picked Holobaugh. Listen, it's matchup specific. Age is not my telling factor, but I will tell you, I know Lima's getting better every fight. I don't know about Barez. So I'm going to call Lima to get it done and win a unanimous decision. I think he can take every round. So we're going to go with up-and-coming André Lima to beat Daniel Barez to close out the most confident picks. I got a lot more, though. I got favorite underdog time. Let's get into this. I'm excited for the segment. So besides the Savage Dog Lock, we'll bring them up. Superman Span, starting it off. I think that he can beat Waldo. I have said I believe Waldo Cortez Acosta leaves things to be desired in the striking department at times. A little bit sloppy. There's shots I can get through. I would say he's a pretty good boxer, but as a pro boxer who's 6-4, he's been knocked out before. Span, when he's on point, he's extremely dangerous. He's got a well-versed game. He does have nice submissions alongside of big KO power. And he's at heavyweight now. A heavyweight Ryan Span could be substantially better than a light heavyweight Ryan Span. He goes from spending the vast majority of his training camps in a calorie deficit, right? Which is just a suboptimal circumstance to be in to optimize performance, to now having no cap. I mean, granted, 265, but he's not going to weigh 265. I think heavyweight Ryan Span is going to look actually really good. I'm anticipating him to look better at heavyweight. Takes the stress of the weight cutting away. Could potentially be looking at the highest level of a Ryan Span that we've ever seen. And when he's on, he's a terrifying force. The recent fight, say what you want about OSP, was a great performance, right? The Dominic Reyes win back in 2022 was insane. There's moments where he looks fucking sensational. And I think if he is on point, Waldo Cortez Acosta has proven nothing to me. Win against Rebellis to Spain. Win against André Arlovsky, who's well past his prime. Decision. Lucas Strezhki knockout. He's the first guy in the UFC to chin him, okay? Lost to Rogerio de Lima back in 2023, and other UFC wins are Chase Sherman and Jared Vandera. He really hasn't beaten anybody high caliber. And Ryan Span is a big puncher who's got a well-versed game, and now he's a heavyweight. He's an inch taller than Waldo, too, at 6'5". I think Superman Span could have a showcase fight. We're going to find out everything, though, on Saturday. Inside distance win for Span, plus 185. If you think he might get the knockout, it's plus 400. Same for sub at plus 400. But the money line is the best side, plus 145. If you believe that Superman Span could handle Where's Waldo Cortez Acosta. At the end of the day, the heavyweight division skill set outside of that top 10, it's iffy, man. And Waldo's all right. He's normally got a speed advantage. I don't think he'll have one here. So that's why I'm going with Superman Span to do some damage and get a nice win for himself. Let's go. Next up on the dog section, Yuneisy Duben. I don't get the odds. I don't get it. Carli Judice is 3-2. Yeah, she had a good fight against Ernesta Carrasqueta. A great fight against Ernesta Carrasqueta on the Contender Series. Okay, signed to the UFC off a loss, loses her debut as well. And granted, Gabriela Fernandez then went on to beat, Wang Kong. And it's like, holy shit. She's all right. I mean, she's got good volume striking. Her kicking skills are pretty nice. She's got kind of speed on her strike. I don't know, man. The fact that she's a favorite made no sense to me, especially a favorite at this type of size. I see it as a competitive fight. I feel like with Duben, she's got the God-given gift of power, and she is a lifelong martial artist. I think that she could actually be a lot better than given credit for. She was a big dog against Shannon Clark, and she fucked her up viciously in round 1 on the Contender Series. I think she's kind of being doubted again. And it's not like Judice has shown this big power or stopping ability. So Judice wins by outstriking over 3 hard rounds in a volume-based attack Duben. But she also has to avoid the fucking titanium fist of this crazy Latina. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Duben's going to hurt her with some big shots. Call it Doobie. I think Duben's going to land some punches. Whether it's decision or KO, I think Duben's ready for 3 hard. I do believe she's physically strong and may surprise Judice in the clinch because Judice has more of that skinny build, whereas Duben is thick and well-built. I think Yuneisy Duben's a live underdog. It's a disrespect to have her as this big of a dog, too. Plus 305. More of a 50-50 fight. I think Duben's power could carry through. The skill set differential, I do not think is nearly as vast as the odds would have it. I don't even think it's vast. So I'm going to say Duben for the win. Money line plus 305. You want to chase a KO plus 600, not recommending it. Decision plus 100, not recommending it. I will pick Yuneisy Duben, though. I think she can land some big punches, maybe steal some key moments, maybe get a knockout, but also could take it on the cards and maybe control Judice in the clinch. I want to see a little more of the grappling of Duben, but I expect it to be better than people are assuming. So Yuneisy Duben to win. And then the final one. This was a what the fuck moment. So again, I make the pick before seeing the odds, right? Let me put his in for this. Shout out to the Zins. I'm like, all right. Su Young Yu, kind of overrated. Decent wrestling, but he ends up on bottom sometimes. He's not super efficient. I don't know. He's kind of a bit reckless with his wrestling. He's a little sloppy, but he's successful, but he'll get reversed. He'll get put on his back. Not dangerous striker. Then I'm like, AJ Cunningham, and I go back and I rewatch the Ludovic Klein fight. I'm like, okay, he was actually touching Ludovic with some decent shots on short notice, 5 days notice, up in weight at 55. He took some big shots against Stephen Nguyen at 45 on Contender. This fight's at 35. Mind fucked. So I guess Cunningham is cutting another, I guess 20 pounds from his last fight, but 10 pounds. I want to see him on the scale to know for sure. But I believe AJ Cunningham's in this fight. He's got decent jiu-jitsu, trained Bryce Mitchell and stuff like that. Working with the Factory X guys now. He's at a way better gym. It's not like this is, law school MMA AJ Cunningham. This is an evolved version of him. And I think that he could have a great performance. I don't think Su Young Yu is very good. He's another road to UFC fighter who's kind of a bust. And I feel like AJ Cunningham could bust this prospect. I'm going to say he's live to win. Plus 450. The money line is a live side. Cunningham could stop Su Young Yu in the later stages. Let me tell you why. Su Young Yu recently has a loss, and he was stopped in the third round, bro. I saw him wilt and break. I saw him wilt and break in that third round, and I think Cunningham could do something like that. The dude is tough as nails. Plus 900 to plus 1200 for the KO prop. At the end of the day, I'm not telling you, oh, go out and bet the fucking prop, or I'm not even telling you bet anything ever. I'm telling you what I'm thinking. But at plus 450, AJ Cunningham is more of a live underdog by a vast margin than these odds will have you believing. I anticipated Su Young Yu as a favorite. 2-1. I see it at open when it comes out. 7-1. What the fuck are we talking about? Su Young Yu should not be a 7-1 favorite against anybody. Not in the UFC. Not in the UFC. He's not finishing people. He's got a split decision in the fight before last. Last fight, a decent win, but Bogan Jalisa is not very great. AJ Cunningham's better than those guys, and he's gritty as fuck. Give me Cunningham. I definitely think he could survive over 1.5 as well at minus 200. Just something else to mention. But I like AJ Cunningham to pull through as the final of the dogs, and I think he's going to make this a much more competitive fight than people are anticipating. Maybe that's telling you play the spread if you don't want to touch the actual money line, but just an idea. Cunningham, respect on him. Absolute gangster. Big W. And let's jump to the Degen props, all right? Those are the dogs for the day. Degen prop time. One of them that I loved, and it's actually plus money as well. Under a round and a half in the Vallejos and Choi fight, plus 110. Bingo. Bingo card. Yes. Vallejos knocks him out under a round and a half. I think so. I think it could be early second round knockout. Choi is way too susceptible to damage and way too low fight IQ. I don't think he's surviving. I'm going under, especially at plus. Give me the under. I think the under's live, man. Now, like I talked about Vallejos by KO already, but I'll reiterate it. If you do want to touch the KO side, it's not a good tag. It's minus 195. There's really not much you could do with it. You could play this. You could go under 1.5 at plus 110, and then you could go Vallejos wins round 2 KO plus 325, but I don't love that. It's not as fun for me. It's not as exciting for me. I want more excitement. That's why I like that under a round and a half. As far as like the Degen prop section, to be honest, the only one I really wanted to give out was that under 1.5. Like I'm looking through some of the other calls, like you could go Damon Blackshear by submission, as I mentioned already during the actual breakdown, plus 215 though. It's not a great tag. Doesn't make me jump with joy. Doesn't make me say, hell yeah. It doesn't make me say, hell yeah. It makes me say, maybe. And I don't like maybes. Like Nurgozhay probably gets a KO. Nurgozhay by knockout minus 110. Nurgozhay by KO in round 1 plus 300. Round 2 plus 425. Don't really love the round props like that unless I have like a strong instinct. And I don't know. I more see the method of victory, but I recognize it could happen at different points. And that's why the under 1.5 for Vallejos seems like the most valuable of calls. I like that. I like the plus money. I wanted to give you guys a plus money call to ride with, not just some favorite status. And another one I was going to bring up, but this is not an official one because, it's not worth it. Luciano Hughes over 2.5 minus 600. If it was minus 200, we'd be talking, but not at minus 600. So that right there is the Degen prop section, just one, and it's a good play. It's a play that I think could come to fruition. I actually think kind of a great play, to be honest, guys. It's kind of a fucking amazing play. So let's jump to everybody's favorite section. Let's talk the parlays. Ooh, we got last week on screen. Look at the W parlays. Last week was sensational. We hit the big dog money at plus 1363, which I thought was pretty badass. Even hit a plus 926. The safe calls come through as well. And yeah, things cooked up nicely. To be honest with you, we also had Ferreira and Carpenter, but we got a robbery loss. Like if Carpenter would have won instead of getting robbed, things would have been even better. But is what it is. Overall, the parlays I'm dropping for you guys to help you guys create yours, or if you're tailing some of these, they've been looking pretty nice. And I'm excited for this week's after a badass week like last week. This week's lineup, okay? I got some calls that called my name. So Vallejos and Blackshear are two confidence picks. This line sucks. Sucks, but it's safe. Minus 225. It's a safe play, but you're not grabbing your nutsack and swinging for the fences. You're kind of like lightly fondling. You know what I'm saying? The next one is good if you add in Nurgozhay. I mean, you're going to get minus 114. Better for sure. And I think they all win. Lima, you add him in plus 142, but that kind of sucks for a 4-fight parlay. Not telling you to go do it, just saying that like it is plus 142, so you know what it is. If you want to rock with Holobaugh as an underdog and you want to line it with Vallejos, right? You're like, fuck it. Like I want to put myself in a savage zone, and you want to go Blackshear. Plus 297 is nearly 3-1 better. Plus 443, I like this one. If you went with Holobaugh, Vallejos, Lima, and Nurgozhay, maybe you want to keep Blackshear out. I'm sure people like alternates, you know? Some people's going to be like, yo, if you want to remove Vallejos from any of these, feel free to. And then one under it, the dog money one. This one's good. Holobaugh and Vallejos is under 1.5. Plus money tags on both fronts, plus 478. I think you're probably hitting. Now for the sweep of the confident calls, including the Savage Dog Lock, you got plus 546, which looks fabulous. Or excuse me, plus 564. Even better. Oh my God, even better. Holobaugh, Vallejos under 1.5, and Blackshear. I just wanted to give you guys a good lineup with a confident call and some money to be made. Plus 606. It gets you more to that like savage plus money that you really want. That's why I call it savage, because 600 or more is savage. We keep moving down. Savage Dog, Holobaugh, Span, and Vallejos under 1.5, plus 1344. Last week, Savage Dog hit with 3 plus money lines altogether. I believe this one's just as live to hit. If for some reason you don't like that Vallejos under 1.5, remove it. You still got a decent tag on Holobaugh and Span together. And then for the Savage AF, I want to just go degenerate. We got Holobaugh, Span, Duben, and Cunningham to win, plus 15,988. That's a crazy ass play. Now, I know that there is a handful of my people that are like, dog, I love your dog picks. I love your mentality, but like, don't give me that thick Latina. I'm not putting her on the lineup. And I'd say, you know what? I get where you're coming from. So if you want to take her off and maybe you're like, no, I see what you're saying with Cunningham. And you see what I'm saying? I think Span got a shot. All right. If you ran with that one instead, if I could find Span, I'm telling you, we would have a fabulous tag. Plus 4,025 if you don't play Duben. And then if you're like, yo, I still want to add in that Vallejos under, not a terrible idea. You can get plus 8,563 by removing Duben and instead putting the under 1.5 in the Vallejos fight. Could remove Duben and that leg altogether. You could go with Holobaugh and Cunningham if you just want to go a Savage Mode USA type play. Granted, Savage Mode USA would also apply to Span, but for this one, it just makes sense because we got Country Boy Cunningham and Country Boy Holobaugh plus 1550. Then if you just added Span to it, you wanted to go with some Savage Americans, like I said, plus 4,025. So those are some parlays. I will do some post weigh-ins. What I did last week is during the live show Friday, I talked with the community and we kind of mixed our minds together and we blended the power of thought and we came together and made some crafty ones. And, a lot of those post weigh-in parlays were actually fabulous. So I'll be bringing some post weigh-in parlays again with some perspective from you guys. So make sure you tune into Friday's lunchtime live around 12:30 p.m. Eastern time as we react to the weigh-ins live before the weigh-in show. And then during the weigh-in show, I'll add a handful more for, our extra confidence after the weigh-ins and if anything needs to be changed. So those are the parlays this week. Did great last week. Doing great this week and feeling fabulous. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I want to know from you, what is your Savage Dog Lock of the card? Are you doing Savage Dog Lock or you locking minus 600 Vallejos? I know a lot of you might be, but money line it, you can't do anything. So if you're on the gambling side, it can't really be much of a play. It can be a lock as far as confidence goes, of course, but not much to be made there on the betting perspective. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, turn the post notifications on too, because you don't want to miss a video or a live stream. I'm dropping a ton of content covering the UFC like an absolute savage from all angles, man. And I'm loving every second of it. If you got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. And if you really like what you're hearing, hey, share the video with a friend or a family member or your grandmother, whoever. She's part of your family too, I guess, so that could have worked. But, you know, add a little emphasis. Share it with your enemy. Share it with anybody. Share it with your neighbor. Share it with that creepy guy at the desk. Actually, don't share it with the creepy guy at the gas station desk, to be honest. Don't share. I don't need that guy watching. I'm joking around. If you're him, I'm not shitting on you, bro. I love you too. I'm messing around. I'm talking crazy, man. I'm finishing out the show like I'm on a damn live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm signing off. Thanks for watching. Much love and peace out. See you next time.